Hey, what's going on, guys? Dillon and Jason here.
What's up, guys?
And today we're going to be taking a look at all of your submissions for the DCF Floral contest, our third contest. This one by far has the most entries. It was an incredible turnout. You guys absolutely killed it. One thing though that we do want to mention is we're not going to be counting any entries that were posted before when we officially announced the contest, which was June 17th. We might not have made that clear enough, but it does have to be a new pair on a new post that you made specifically for the contest. So there was a lot of great posts that people went back and added the hashtag on maybe a floral pair that they've done in the past. But for it to be considered an official entry and to be a participant in the contest, it does just have to be on a new pair and done on a new post. So just a little bit of a forewarning for future contests and this contest. But nonetheless, with all of the entries, woo-wee, was it tough picking this down to a final four. So you ready to get things started?
Oh yeah, man, let's go. So first off, we have C'est La Vie with an incredible $10 Nike Air Force One restoration, man. The fact that she got this shoe for $10 and made this incredible art piece out of it.
These are beautiful.
Dude, the amount of detail. I didn't even look at the back tab, how there's like a, is it a sunset going on with the clouds? Dude, these are incredible.
One little thing that I think is a little bit underrated about this design is the choice to leave that front portion of the swoosh alone, a little bit of breakup, you know what I mean? Rather than just having that background continue right across it, that little bit of breakup I think is a really nice touch. And take a look at that B, man, all of that detail in there. Wow, this is a great design, and like you mentioned, man, an awesome turnaround for a pair that you picked up for $10. Next up, we have Carbon 14 Customs with a pair of Jordan 1s with these neon colors. Dude, you hear me say it all the time, but neon colors are not easy to work with, especially neon yellow. And this pink, these colors really pop. Cool design. I think that this is just a really cool, simple, classic color blocking that you'll see on a lot of Jordan 1s.
Yeah, and the Linework on here isn't that bad either, too, man. It's
solid, really consistent. Great job.
So next up, we have Hot Cocoa Customs with a pair of Rose Vans. I feel like once people say floral, they kind of like want to throw all these flowers. Exactly, like a print like this on the whole shoe, and that really isn't necessary. So stuff like this really works well for me.
Yeah, I know simplicity is gonna win for you a lot of the time. Next up, we have AN Custom Kicks with a really simple pair of Vans. I think we actually have a lot of these types of entries where they use that patch. It's interesting that the patchwork has still stuck around since, what? I mean, Sneakerhead in the Bay really started that trend. Geez, how many years ago now? 3-4 years or something like 5, that?
Honestly.
Wow, crazy. So yeah, we have quite a few entries with actually on Vans and probably using a pretty similar patch.
So next up, we have VMC Customs with a pair of custom Rose Vans. And again, we have that patch that was used in the last Vans, but this patch is used in a pink pair of Vans, which I think does play it a little bit better. And the background also helps complement the shoe.
For sure. Next up, we have Kobe Creates with a pair of floral Air Force Ones. This is some interesting color blocking here. There's something that I like about this color blocking. Just the white and the black color blocking, and then all of the floral work is near the rear of the shoe.
Next up, Official Mike with a pair of floral decal Yeezys. I think with Yeezys, what I would like to see is taking that same design that you have and putting it within the stripe.
Ooh,
like making your own stripe, even like outlining it.
Yep.
And like taking the stencils and like putting it within that stripe, because then I think it'll make it stand out a lot more, which is weird to think than it all over.
Yeah, you know, I think that would make for a really cool design, because then you sort of have a lot of the classic, you know, design elements, part of a Yeezy V2 colorway. You think simple colorways, those pictures of Kanye where he has like 40 pairs and they're just every different color, and then you just play up some stuff within that stripe, I think could make for a really cool design. Next up, we have MC Kazoot with a pair of floral slip-ons, and interestingly enough, the main picture that they have on their Instagram was just this pair of white slip-ons, and then you're in for a really cool surprise once you actually click and see the design work they did. This Malaysian floral print, I mean, the dot work here is incredible. I love the color selection. This was a really pleasant surprise clicking past that pair of white slip-ons.
I love the, it was like a yellow, like kind of tannish background they used for the purple. I think, dude, I mean, you just can't get
that dot work,
better
man.
Background color than that.
Crazy.
The dot work is insane.
Yeah, great job here.
And their next entry is this Floral Vans Low. I think my favorite part about these, I mean, obviously it's a pretty cool design, but I think the lining, like the sock liner.
Yeah, piping, yeah.
Like going back in there and painting that and making sure like that contrast against the other colors was a really nice touch.
And just this very minimal amount of blue within this floral print, you know what I mean? Then that blue really pops, so I dig these.
Next up, we have JCK Custom Shoes with a pair of floral Air Force highs. I was really interested to see who would take that Murakami theme and kind of play into the whole floral theme. And for this being your second shoe, good job, man. Just make sure you keep on going.
Yeah, second pair, cool stuff here. And then they tested out some different floral prints too, you know what I mean? We have some sunflowers, some dandelions, the rose stuff going around that toe box panel. Cool stuff here, buddy. Next up, we have BA Custom Clothing with a pair of floral slip-ons. I think that this is the start of something cool. I really like the color selection. I think that if there was a little bit more detail, a little bit more realism packed into this floral print, I think that this could really be a dope design.
Next up, we have Solo Filth with a pair of floral Air Force Ones. So I'm a big fan for simple color schemes like this. They don't need to be all over the shoe. When they really focus on the toe box and the swoosh and have like little like hints of the sunflowers here and there, that's like stuff that'll get me more than it would get you.
For sure. Next up, we have our Buddy Jar Customs with a pair of Gucci Tulip Air Force Ones. This is a really cool design using the Gucci pattern just on the toe box and then that panel behind the swoosh. I love the realism packed into the tulips. Those look great. I think that the Gucci print could be a little bit smaller. If that pattern was a little bit more compact onto these panels, I think it would read a little bit more legible.
It feels a little bit small. I think it could probably also take up a little bit more of the negative space.
Yep.
But the color scheme, I like that he painted the sock liner green.
Yeah.
I think it adds a lot to the rest of the shoe.
Rather than just keeping that all white, for sure. Agree there. Next up, we have kingscustom.uk with a pair of white Nike Mandala slides. Man, these are crazy. Look at how detailed that pattern is. Can't even imagine how long that took. The precision here. You look at all the line weights, incredible consistency. Just a phenomenal job here.
Dude, I have so much respect for people who do this because I could never.
Next up, we have Next Gen Customs with a pair of Rose Air Force Ones. And let me just first start out by saying A+ job over to the content team over at Next Gen Customs. I love how this video came out. The pictures are great. This is just a phenomenal presentation.
And when you have a phenomenal presentation, you also have it just makes your shoe look that much better.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then I think design-wise, there's some interesting interplay here of, I think sometimes we'll see a lot of stuff going on with the swoosh. Sometimes the design's completely behind it. Sometimes you go right over it, and there's just a nice mix and match type style here.
All right. So next up, we have Customs by Rabbi J with the pair of floral Converse. And I like that you said you didn't use any stencils in this because I personally can't draw a straight line with the ruler. So good job on these, man.
Yeah, cool pair. Next up, we have Smile Custom with a really cool pair of Gucci Air Forces. Man, oh man, do I love this design. I think that there is some phenomenal choices here of really using the silhouette to your advantage and having the floral print sort of scattered everywhere. It's not contained to just certain areas. It's not just all on the panels where the Gucci print is. It's here, it's there. It's not on any of the panel where the eyelets are for the laces. I love this design, man.
Dude, it's just clean work. Everything about it is clean. The colors, the saturation, the shadows, the highlights, everything.
Just something about this, just it has this elegant feel to it. This is just a phenomenal pair.
So next up we have 6 Customs, the pair of floral slip-ons, and dude, these kind of give you like a Star Wars vibe, man.
They do,
like,
man.
Like the red and blue,
the glow,
and the muted flowers and like the line work. Everything just kind of just giving like that. It's like a different take on floral.
the stripes here and stuff. Yeah, this is just overall just a different take, and it's cool. And then they said that they cut and hand stitched the leather on the pull tab on the back and the little tongue tag. This is just an interesting take, man. Next up, we have Soul Customs with a pair of Air Forces, and hopefully I don't say this wrong, but I believe this is from the anime The Secret World of Ariete. I always love removing the swoosh, placing it somewhere else, incorporating that into your design, having the kanji letters on there. And there's some great detail here, man. This drawing looks really good.
Yeah, the artwork on here looks insane. It looks very, very detailed, like they kind of just printed it on there.
Yeah, it really does. So great job on this pair.
Next up, we have Kei Kanashiro with a pair of floral Converse. I do like that she used multiple flowers instead of sticking to just one flower and putting it all over. So I think she did that really well.
Yeah, this might have been one of the first pairs we've seen where they really experimented with a lot of different colored flowers and stuff. So dig this design.
So next up, we have Made by Megs with a pair of Floral custom Air Force Ones. I do like that the rose has a lot of detail in it. It's like very cool, like illustration style. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of highlights and shadows in there, which I think just makes it pop out even more.
That was one of my favorite thoughts when we announced the Floral contest, is that we would see a lot of cool different styles, a lot of cool illustrations, and this is a cool one. It's sort of a little bit of realism, but it has a little bit of like a digital type style too, so these are dope. Next up, we have Altered Crepes with a pair of Japanese Cherry Blossom Tree custom Air Force Ones. This is a cool design. I'm always going to be a fan of the cherry blossom style. If I could give any criticism to these, I think that when you think of cherry blossom, you think of, kind of elegant and a little bit more minimal. So I think that there's the quantity, the sheer volume of the cherry blossom is a little high here. So this is a really cool design. I think it would be a little bit better with a little bit less cherry blossoms.
Next up, we have Jake Fox Customs, a pair of Floral Jordan 1s. Honestly, man, the animation for these is pretty dope.
Heck yeah.
I like that he took the extra step and made an animation for them.
Yep.
And honestly, I wish you would have used a little bit of dollar if that wasn't something that you had planned on using before.
Yep. A little bit more of a matte look, but some classic Jordan color blocking, having the all black panels, the blue wings logo, and then the blue roses. I think that this is one of those, again, where it's the start of something cool if we could pack in a little bit more realism, a little bit more detail into those into the floral pattern for sure.
Next up, we have Concrete Customs, a pair of floral florals. Dude, I mean, this material alone,
yeah.
I just know how big of a pain it is to work in this material.
Tough.
So for you to even make this all white to all black,
not easy.
Or, I mean, obviously it's not all black, but yeah, you're basically transforming into all black.
Right,
man.
Right. I love this silhouette, man. This is such a cool shoe, and then the off-white sort of stripes, and then the roses on top. This just makes for a really cool design, and it flows well, just being very vertical on the shoe, all very linear. I really like the placement of everything here.
Yep. Next up, we have Chaotic with a pair of Rose Air Force Ones. I like that they didn't put the roses on top of the swoosh. The swoosh alone is already a very iconic logo, and so just letting it breathe by itself was a really smart decision.
Agree. Next up, we have Kai Customs, and this is a funny follow-up to the last pair that we just saw, where we have a totally different take on how you utilize the swoosh. And here, just going directly over it with all of these different colored roses and different colored flowers. And I like it here. It just depends how you're trying to play into it. But here, it works great, and there is some really, really great color work here. Love how all this turned out, and trying to bring in even more color on the laces too.
Oh yeah, the laces are crazy, man. They're multicolored.
The Rainbow Roses Air Force Ones, these are dope.
Next up, we have DCLIC sneakers with a pair of custom Stan Smiths. I mean, dude, I love Stans, and they did a pretty clean job of changing the white to pink on this one. They even went ahead and did the tongue. Again, just a clean job.
I'm not sure if it's the lighting here, but it somewhat looks like there's a little bit of a gradient from light to dark as far as the pink goes. If there's not, and there's just lighting, I think that could have been a cool take.
Yeah.
Or if there is a gradient there intentionally, I think that maybe going even a step further and having the darkest pink a little bit darker and having that lightest pink a little bit lighter, I think would have been really cool with a design like this. Next up, we have Brotistic with a pair of Janowski lows. This is a really cool silhouette that I don't think we see enough designs on. I really like these, and it says that these are a little bit of an Arizona floral theme. I love the pictures too. This has a sunset vibe to it, almost up against the cacti and whatnot. I really dig this design.
The water droplets in the front left toe box, man, those are they packed in a lot of detail on those. I think they're done really well.
That looks great.
And for the next entry, they did a pair of floral slides, and just in the snake alone, the amount of detail that goes into that snake, like to create depth like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's done really, really well.
Yeah, like you could actually feel the mouth and the face and everything. It feels, it feels like it's coming towards you. You know what I mean? So overall, this is just a badass pair. Like, this is just a cool design, this sort of somewhat tattoo style. I like sort of the style that the roses are done in, setting a nice background, and then you have the snake on one and the skull where the head turns into a rose. Like, this is just a badass design.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Kicks by Finn all the way over in Germany. I think that this is a really cool color palette. The teals, the purples, the greens. I really dig that.
And it's a great job finding a background that kind of goes with the shoe, too. That's really hard for people to do some of these days, but He killed it with the background.
Great job.
Next up, we have Inked Up 19 with the pair of sunflower Vans, and these are actually pretty cool, man. Like the detail that goes into the center alone. There's a lot of little dots in there that I know took a lot of time.
What I really enjoy about these, I think that this is a really, really strong understanding of composition and how they perfectly sized everything up. I mean, they took advantage of the entire toe on this pair of slip-on Vans, and I think that just sizing that up perfectly just takes, you know, a really good understanding of composition as a whole. So really dig these. Yeah. Next up, we have a Mama Design Atelier with a really cool pair of Adidas lows. One of my favorite parts here is sort of the glitter work for the name. It looks like it says Pearl, and that really pops. I dig that, this Minnie Mouse pattern.
And I love to see that they're from Nigeria. It seems like I love the international support and the community that this is all formed.
For sure. And then their second entry was this pair of Converse lows, and this is really cool too. It's not very often you see the 80% of the design work all packed into the tongue because it's going to get covered up with the laces, but this still makes for a really cool shoe.
Yeah, it almost looks like it's printed on there, so it's really, really good job.
Looks good. Next up, we have DeKid Customs, who sent in a bunch of entries for the contest. We have 3 pairs of Air Forces, a lot of different color work, and every one of these features some of that floral patchwork.
I like that 2 of the 4 entries are actually half painted on the inside of the shoe, which does differentiate a little bit from the other 2 that are just patches, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
Next up, we have Key Art 76, and man, honestly, at first I thought this was a patch, but it's done really well. The detail in this, I like that you added a shadow underneath the flowers, which really makes it
stand out.
Gives it that 3D.
That's why it almost has that patch look. And then I really like the color selection for the stripes and then that little back tab. I don't think that maybe that was part of the factory shoe already, but it's kind of this cool sort of like muted, almost grayish rose gold type color that I really dig. And like you said, man, the detail here. Packing in all of the realism into that tiny of a space. Really great job here. All the way in France, too. Gotta love the international support, like you said.
So next up, we have Legend of Plink with a pair of Converse lows. And it seems like, I don't know if you could tell this, but by the lace holes, the blue isn't nearly completely finished. Because I think it's supposed to resemble the sky. Yeah. Kind of like looking like clouds. Yep. So I think that was a really nice touch.
These just have a nice hand-painted feel to them. Sometimes it's nice for a shoe just to have this hand-painted feel that this is a creation from somebody, and these have that, so I dig these. Next up, we have Williams Custom Sneakers utilizing the all-leather Converse. What I like about these is, as far as some of the floral leaves, is that sometimes it's popping out from the side, sometimes it's popping out from the top, just using the whole shoe to your advantage.
I also love how much detail is packed into the flower.
Yeah, they definitely achieved some depth there. Next up, we have Sold Short with a pair of Air Force One mids with the Murakami print, some galaxy design on some of the panels. This is just a fun design. I like how these turned out, and a lot of color and a lot of time went into doing that Murakami print on the toe box and that side panel.
I'm not gonna lie, I do wish the black panels were kind of like a different color. Maybe like a baby blue or something. Yeah. Okay. I feel like black kind of like distracts me a little bit.
Okay.
But they're still dope.
Yeah. Really cool design here. Next up, we have Easy Custom Kicks with a pair of sunflower lows, and they went for the sunflower print all over. It takes up the entire outsides and insides of both shoes. And then I think you could sort of see here, Jason, this is one issue that you run into when you use markers, that you get some bleeding sometimes. So when you're trying to pull tight outlines with the black, that's where you end up with some of that bleeding.
Next up, we have CW Customs with a pair of rose swoosh Air Force Ones. It seems like these are Velcroed on, right?
Or some type of like interchangeable factor or something. Kind of cool too, you know what I mean? You could always switch out the swooshes. Maybe this would work if you had, I don't know, different color swooshes or different color florals or something like that. The concept is pretty cool.
Oh, I didn't even think about it. I didn't even think about that.
Maybe.
Like being able to interchange swooshes.
That could be cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Next up, we have J Street Customs with a really cool pair of Dior print Air Force Ones. I like the color selection, the really light pale blue for the Dior monogram, and then the sort of like a sketchy style almost for the actual floral pattern. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, it's I think apparently it's hand drawn, the flowers too, and it's
cool.
It's done really well. I mean, I can't do that, so yeah, pretty dope.
I dig these.
Next up, we have Nasty Customs with a pair of floral Vans, and it says flowers are a challenge for you, but I mean, you did a pretty good job on the detail, on the toe boxes of both of these, man. I like the little accents of flowers on the back sides as well.
Yeah, and just a lot of great color work here too. You know, I mean, I'm excited to see when you take a stab at a lot of different color flowers, and this is a great job.
Next up, we have Violet Blue Aesthetic with a pair of floral Vans. I believe in her description she says this is the Flor de Muerto, which is the flower of death, and I think it's from the movie Coco.
Yep.
So that's what these shoes are inspired by.
Yeah, what's cool about this pair is you could tell that it means a lot to them just based off their description. It said they included some lyrics from a song that tie into their grandparents, and you know, it's just cool when you're able to have something that just really means a lot to you and translate that into artwork. Yep. So great job here. Next up, we have Sonoransol, hopefully I said that right, with a pretty cool pair of prickly pear cacti Nike Vapor Pros. This is a dope design. I think this might have been the first one we've seen with all over cacti print. I dig these. The laces, great touch.
Dude, honestly, this looks like something Nike would release.
It really does.
For like
really
a
great touch.
Like a spring pack or something.
Yeah, pretty cool pair. Next up, we have CLK01 with a pair of Nike Lows, and this is a pair where there's more than meets the eye. It sort of has this split design. There's a lot going on here. This pair obviously has a lot of meaning to everything going on right now. I think that this is a great touch on that design. And the laces, the rose work on the toe box panel that wraps around the change text on the insides of the shoes. There's a lot going on here, and this is a really cool design.
And weirdly enough, all these colors kind of complement each other.
It does.
Nothing's really like bashing each other, so it's
yeah,
really good job on choosing your colors. Next up, we have Awandawee Customs, and I hope I'm saying that right, with the pair of Floral Air Force Ones. This is another case where the half of the swoosh is only covered with the print of what they put on there, and I mean, in this case, it actually does work.
Yeah, cool illustration style too. Here, dig these. And their next entry is done on this pair of Air Forces, where they're trying to go for a little bit of a bouquet look, all taking place within the swoosh. This is a pretty cool design.
And the roses look they're pretty well done too, man. They look great with detail.
Tiny little space, you know, pretty cool. Next up, we have CRW31 with a cool pair of NMDs, and I can't tell for sure, but as far as the patchwork goes, it looks like they may have taken the time to split it up and whatnot, and then you have the patches coming up from certain areas, coming out of the tops, bottoms, so they might have just taken, you know, the patch concept, but just played it into fitting really nicely onto the silhouette.
And for the next design, they did a Dark Sakura Adidas NMD Japan custom, and kind of like last time, they, instead of bunching up all the patches, they made sure to really spread them out evenly throughout the shoe.
Definitely.
Next up, we have the Artist Odyssey with the pair of floral Nike slides, and the blends here are done really well. Specifically in the blue flower, I feel like when the tips are really white and you have to go to the center, which is a really dark blue, your blends have to be done well for it to be seamless.
That contrast really pops here, and I'm always a sucker for floral print on Nike slides. Looks great here. Next up, we have Sneakerhead Customs WP with, I think, maybe our first pair of cleats. This is pretty cool. Not too often that you would see floral print on cleats, but I like how these turned out.
And the laces, I don't know if he...
Yeah, that tie-dye?
Yeah, I don't know if they painted them themselves, but that was a good add-on to
the shoe. Complements the design. Next up, we have Detailed 5 with an awesome pair of Japanese Jordan 1s. There is a lot you could talk about here, and even though the design work is everywhere, there's still some nice breakup of having certain panels solid black. There's just a lot to like here. I mean, you take a look at some of the detail packed into the koi fish and the dragon. I mean, this is really high-level artistry, man.
Dude, the art is amazing. I just wish that the photos were a little bit better. I remember they also entered the horror contest, I believe.
Christmas one, too.
The Christmas one. And man, like, your artwork is amazing, but I would suggest taking a little bit more time in your photos, and I promise
it deserves it. It deserves it
really
because the artwork is, it's top tier. It's top tier, so it deserves top tier photography, without a doubt. Next up, we have Scribbled Inks with a pair of the oversized floral Vans. These are dope, man. This sort of has that inside-outside feel, too, where if you're looking at the shoes from one side, the outside and inside are both going to be yellow, but if you're looking at the shoes from the other side, you're going to get sort of this light turquoisey blue type color, and I dig this oversized floral print.
I also like the blending that's going on within the actual petals.
Definitely.
That's done really well.
Yeah, some strong contrast for sure.
Next up, we have KC Customs with a pair of Nike Lows. And overall, good job, man. But I would recommend taking a photo in a much lighter setting. When you have a dark, overall just a dark photo, people tend to just scroll right past it.
But yeah, I agree with that. Overall, great job here, man. Yellow's not an easy color to work with. I dig the palm tree silhouettes and the little birds flying around. Cool stuff. Next up, we have a pair from Meeks YT, and this is just done in that fun doodle style. I love this concept of just grabbing an old pair of shoes and just having fun on them.
Yeah, I agree, man. I also love all the color in there. Definitely makes them pop.
Next up, we have a pair of Daydream Air Force Ones coming from MC Kicks. This is a really, really unique design. It says that a little bit of inspiration from unicorn roses. They almost have, to me, a little bit of a watercolor style to it, and obviously all of the colors really pop. And then I really like the inside swoosh, too, having all of those vines sort of running in and out of there. That's really cool.
Dude, I love the inside swoosh. The vines intertwining with on the swoosh.
So dope.
Super clean.
So dope.
Next up, we have Ron Customs, a pair of Floral Cosmo Air Force Ones. Interesting take on the floral theme with this one.
For
He
sure.
had like a galaxy take on it too. Haven't seen anyone done that before, so really unique.
Yeah, and I know that the galaxy style is sort of Ron's signature, and it really plays well here. And then I like the swoosh breaking everything up, having sort of a pewter on one of the shoes and then the gold on the other. That looks cool, and yeah, this is just an interesting take. Floral Cosmos, I really like how these turned out. Next up, we have Piggy CR38S with a really cool take on a pair of Air Forces. There's a lot going on here. They did a lot to this shoe. They glow with the black light, the neon colors. I like that the swoosh is removed, but there's these floral, almost like 3D buttons added, but they're added in the same placement where the swoosh was. The laces are cool. The leather tongue tag. There's a lot going on here.
I also like that when you take these into the dark and add some black light, they glow.
That's dope.
Which is always a cool little add-on.
And just great color blocking too. So this is a really good design.
Next up, we have Crep Customs with a pair of floral leather Converse. And honestly, I think my favorite part about these is the fact that he added the green laces to these. Is that even like I think it's like a leaf?
Yeah, at the end?
At the end of the...
That's dope.
Exactly. And like
Wonder where they got
little
that.
details like that add a lot to the shoe.
Yeah. And then this sort of has that, off-white color blocking with the stripes and then the hibiscuses on there. Really cool design. Next up, we have Chloe Joy Co. with a pair of Air Force Mids done in a Garden of Eden design. This is something interesting, pretty interesting take on the floral design. Same thing with the last pair. I really like the lace selection here.
And obviously, who doesn't like actually adding a real snake in there?
Yeah, that's really cool. Next up, we have a pair from D Design all the way over in India on these Converse lows. And look at how strong these orange hues pop up against this blue background. Love how these came out.
Dude, also the detail and the depth of this, what is this? Like this iron ladder?
Yeah,
ladder.
that's
like
cool.
Almost like she painted like a buckle on there.
Yeah.
But it's done pretty well.
Yeah. Next up, we have DWAD07 working on this pair of Adidas mids. We have the red roses on one shoe, the blue roses on the other. That's happening on the midsole and on the 3 stripes on the shoes. Pretty cool.
And I also like that the left is red, the right is blue. And I think it adds a lot to the design having those 2 different colors.
Definitely.
Next up, we have Kiatu Customs, the pair of floral Jordan 1s. And I think for this one, it's either go big or go home because the designs on these are huge. It kind of also drips onto the midsole too, which is pretty cool.
Just the right amount, you know what I mean? And you aren't kidding, man. Go big or go home, like you said. Love how these turned out. On the left shoe, we have all of the roses. On the right shoe, we have all of the violets. And one thing that I like about these is on the inside of the shoe where we have the roses, you then have the blue violets color on the inside swoosh. And then on the violet shoe on the inside, you have the red roses color. So that was just a smart interplay between the shoes, and love this design. These came out awesome. Next up, we have a pair of boots from Mo and Cheese Art. Really like how these turned out. A pretty wide range of flower selection. It says they went with Wild Cosmos, Wood Violets, Queen Anne's Lace, and Blue-Eyed Grass. These are dope.
I also like that they did it on a boot. I think this is the first boot that we have of the contest.
Yep.
Yeah, might be.
These came out awesome.
Next up, we have Devolve Custom Footwear with a pair of Stranger Things Nike Blazer. Dude, these are pretty dope.
Sick.
These are pretty dope. They designed the entire shoe.
Yeah.
I like that the floral to them was the mouth of the Demogorgon, which I think was a really cool take on on like the floral theme.
I love that interpretation of floral.
And then the Demogorgon's mouths are also glow in the dark.
Sick. And then I just gotta commend. I love the add-ons of the lights with the alphabet. Woo-wee, great little touch. Next up, we have a pair of Vans Old School Lows coming from Creations of a Dangerous Mind, done in a little bit of a tropical gradient type style. That gradient looks pretty clean.
Yeah, I'm glad they chose that color blue to lay the gradient on, especially with the rainbow gradient. It's hard to choose colors that would complement it.
Definitely.
Next up, we have Yumi's Art Box with a pair of Disney Floral Custom Vans. I mean, dude, where do I even start with these?
work. Just A+ work. A+ work.
Man.
Presentation,
Shading, blends.
Look at the background. Okay, so the character work is phenomenal.
Yeah.
The floral work is phenomenal. But now separate everything and look at the background. These clouds done in these different hues of the blues and the pinks, the purples. Just A+ work.
I mean, being
here.
able to pack that much detail into a very, very, very small.
Look at the little glows around Tinkerbell's feathers, her little wings, her little wings. Excuse me. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
This is
It's a great pair.
This is A++ work. Next up, we have Sarah Kicks with a pair of Nike Court Majestic Lows. This is a pretty cool design. They have the drip going on the swoosh. They have that teal color sort of on the sock liner, and then that main medial panel that's also on the toe box, and then that flower painted on the toe box. I know you like the photo too.
Dude, I love how the background just goes with the shoe.
Yep.
I mean, you could tell that they really did a lot of Photoshop work on here, and they did a good job.
Cool stuff.
Next up, we have Rad's Customs with a pair of Jordan 1 lows, and dude, these are clean. The color palette on these, clean.
Man.
The detail that he turned the swoosh into like what, the inside petal or like whatever it is, the spout of the flower.
Man. Oh, so good. The outside and the inside, the morphing of the swoosh.
The folds of the petals.
Man, and then just having certain panels, kind of that solid, custom pinkish color.
Yep.
Ooh, are these good. Next up, we have Wear Yacht with a pair of Air Force One lows, and man, these give me some Mardi Gras type vibes. Some of that New Orleans classic color palette is coming out with the green, gold, and purple. I dig these.
I also like that he added a little detail painting on the air.
Yep.
He did a little purple, gold, and green there too.
Clean. Next up, we have Riley James Customs with a pretty cool take on this pair of Nikes. I like the filigree, and it has this border for this portrait inside. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, I haven't seen anyone use floral like the vines as an actual border for the portrait.
Dope.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's dope. Next up, we have Albert Customs with a pair of sunflower Nike Blazers. These have that nice painted feel. These look like a painting, and I like that.
Definitely gives me some Tyler the Creator vibes.
Yeah, these are dope.
Next up, we have Customs by Olivia with some Garden Air Force Ones, and I like that you picked the name Garden because this all the textures that are going on in this shoe really does remind me of what you would find in a garden.
A lot of cool stuff going on here as far as playing up the swoosh, and then we have the butterflies floating across the swoosh on one of the shoe. We have the sunflowers behind the swoosh there. Some floral work going on the toe boxes. Really cool design. Next up, we have Gonzalez Graphics with a pair of Vans Old School lows, and this just falls under that category of stuff that excites me for just having your own interpretation of floral and doing it in this stained glass work.
Dude, they killed it.
Yeah.
They really made it seem like glass.
Yeah,
You
like
know
a
what I mean?
stained glass painting. These are sick.
And you killed it. Next up, we have Tight Customs with a pair of floral slip-ons, and I think we could always expect great things from Tight Customs. They're always gonna pack in a lot of detail, a scene like scenery within their customs.
What a great
job.
take when you look at the shoe from that side view. You get this scenery of this road and then this little turtle. I know we've already looked at all of the tiny little details for this little turtle, the little bee, the little salamander. It's crazy. This is a pair that definitely takes a second viewing. You know what I mean? You got to get it in hand and look all the way around, and I love how these turned out. Next up, we have Cresp Customs with a pair of Lilac Air Force Ones. Man, this is, we were sort of up for debate if this was painted or not because that swoosh looks phenomenal.
I think my favorite part about these is the back tab. There's a lot of depth to it because the behind the Nike Air logo, they did more of like a drop shadow. Yeah. So that really helped add that 3D effect.
These look dope from the back. You know what I mean? This is cool because it looks like the swoosh is just arising right out of the petals there. Next up, we have Alex Dill with a pair of Sunflower Vans lows done on the Checkerboard Vans. I like how these turned out. The sunflowers play well on top of the checkerboard.
I also like that they added the black outline around the shoe. It really adds like a nice breakage to the rest of the shoe.
I like that yellow panel too. It ties in nicely to the sunflower print.
Next up, we have I Am Customs with a pair of Floral Roxy shoes, and just reading like what this means to the people who made this shoe. I think that's what gives this shoe a lot more life.
For sure.
Is that when you wear the shoe, you're constantly reminded of why you painted it.
Yep. Again, we got to give a shout out to Adriana, Jeremiah, and Isaac. It says that each one of the different flowers on the shoes is representative of one of your children. And again, just creating meaning through art. It's always going to be awesome, and great job on this pair.
Next up, we have Sneaker Tweaker with a pair of black Air Force Ones, and I kind of like this. Well, I like your name, first of all.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I like it kind of gives me like a Mario 64
It does.
feel, you know what I mean?
It does. I get that. And there's something like just an interesting take on the swoosh too. It's removed
I didn't
and
notice that,
scooted
yeah.
down, but the portion where the swoosh would be is then painted to have this stay strong text. The brickwork looks great. I like the off-white laces. This is a really cool pair.
Yeah.
Next up, we have Kaylee Doscope Customs with a pair of Water Lily Vans. There's some really cool scenery here. As you know, working on canvas is not easy, and they went for a little bit of an oil painting style. Love how these turned out, and they're glow in the dark.
And like you said, achieving that little scenery with this material is really, really hard, so good job. Next up, we have custom sneaks with a pair of floral Air Force Ones, and I think my favorite part about this whole like photo set is the fact that they went to actually go look for a different background for each side of the shoe. So each side of the shoe complements whatever color is on the background.
Definitely. Going out of your way to do that, it really makes for a great photo set. And every single side of these pair of Air Forces has a different floral pattern, so that's super dope. Next up, we have sneakers remade with a pair of Air Force One highs done in this interesting style, graffiti, flame, and flower inspired, it says. These came out pretty cool. It's just an interesting take on it.
Yeah, definitely keep going, because I see you only have 2 posts on Instagram, so make sure you keep on going.
Yep, definitely. Next up, we have a pretty cool pair from Melissa Basic Basulto. What I really like about these is the floral pattern takes place on different portions of the shoe, on the left shoe versus the right shoe. One, it's up the toe box and the tongue. On the other, it's on the eyelet panel. This is a pretty cool set of laces for them, too. This is just a unique silhouette to be working on.
I like the brown that she chose to lay down.
Yes.
It really gives like a luxury feel.
Yeah, those colors pop, and then they're all sort of outlined like in a gold. It fits really well to this style of shoe.
Yep. Next up, we have K. David Banner with a pair of white slip-ons, and I know you really enjoy the tattoo style work, and these are clean. I think you don't need to add much more to it, because I think that's how American traditional tattoo style really is, and like I said, these are clean.
You know what they say, bold will hold. Next up, we have a pair from our buddy Kong's Customs with these really dope Roses and Thorns Air Force Ones. Some great color blocking here. These huge roses over the swoosh and on the toe box. This is a dope pair.
Yeah, I like that the one rose takes over the entire toe box.
Huge. I dig it, and finding a way to utilize those terrible laces from the bloodlines, but they fit well here, obviously, you know what I mean? On the insides of the shoes, having the thorns running throughout. These are really dope.
Next up, we have Custom Nice Style Official with a pair of Air Force Ones, and what I like about these is that the lavender buds, not only all 3 of them go on top of the swoosh, but the middle one actually goes behind the swoosh. So there's some good planning on these.
Definitely, this is a cool pair. Next up, we have AW Customs working on a pair of Tommy Hilfiger shoes, and they do their little bit of a cartoon jungle floral style. So this is pretty cool. I like that blue. It really pops up against all of the colors they selected for the floral print. Next up, we have a pair of Jordan 1s from BW Custom Kicks, and this is a this is floral. This is floral everywhere, and even having those add-ons on the swoosh, I love these. One thing that I really dig about them is having the breakup of certain panels, so on the toe box, on that upper heel panel, and then the panel behind the swoosh, having it a little bit more muted where you're just showing off the line work, and there's a lot to like about these, man.
And that line work is clean.
Yeah.
It's super, super clean.
Yeah, and then even going out of your way to do the work on the Jumpman, the tongue tag there, this is a really good pair. And I like that this isn't the all leather Jordan 1. It's that, I think it's like snakeskin patterned or something, so it just adds into the texture of these. Really dig these. Next up, we have J Street Customs with a really cool pair of Cherry Blossom Air Force Ones. We have seen a lot of Air Force Ones, and I think the theme that we sort of keep talking about is how you interplay the swoosh, going behind it, going in front of it, And this is a great example of sometimes going behind it, sometimes going in front of it, and just really playing around with the silhouette.
Yeah, I also like the 2 different cherry blossoms that were used on each different shoe. I think the tones, the different tones in pink really complement each other.
Yep, this is a great design. And their next entry was done on another pair of Air Forces, and man, these almost look like they could be patchwork. That's how clean this is. And again, just playing up how you utilize the swoosh, you know what I mean? Great job here.
Yeah, I love the selection of colors to the color palette.
Yeah,
super
like
clean.
the leaves, rather than being, you know, like a regular green, they're this darker turquoise. Really dig it here.
Okay, we finally got into the end, and man, that was so many entries.
Yeah.
I don't know how many entries that was, more than, what was the last contest? The
Yeah,
Christmas
we had
contest?
about 75-ish, I think, in those.
Oh yeah, we definitely had a lot more this time. Yeah, and thank you guys so much for entering. It really means the world to us that some of you guys would even go and buy a new pair of shoes just to enter. It truly shows how big this community is getting, and we just appreciate all the support from you guys.
Now, there's a grand prize up for stake. There's money up for stake, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait to show you guys the final 4 for this contest, because I can't wait to see them in person.
Yeah, and don't feel bad if you aren't in the final 4 either, because I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's subjective. You know what I mean? We picked the final 4, but wow, there is.
It's hard on our part to choose just 4.
Yeah, but there are some bangers coming your way, and you guys are gonna vote on the winner, and it's gonna be a good one. We're really excited, so make sure you guys tune in next week. We're reviewing your customs. We're back at you guys, coming with the final 4 of the floral contest. It is going to be a tight race for the finale. So thank you guys again for all of your entries. Truly means the world to us. All of the support from all around the world. We need to tally up how many countries participate in these types of contests, because it's absolutely incredible. So thank you guys. Shortly after this, we're going to be ready to announce our next contest. So stay tuned for that. Go ahead and give this video a like if you haven't already. Make sure you guys are subscribed, and we will see you guys next week.